Have you ever wondered about a boy from a small town whose voice held magic, but before the world could recognize him, he was laughed at, hurt, and left alone? How did that boy become the heart of one of the world's biggest music groups? Today, we are going to talk about Taehyung, our beloved V, and his inspiring journey. A journey that's not just a story, but a true example. It all started in a small town called Daegu, South Korea. Taehyung came from a simple farming family. Dreams of music or acting were there, but there was no big platform. And when you come from a background where arts aren't considered a secure career, even dreaming feels strange. But Taehyung had something different, a passion, a hope that never faded. Taehyung's family, though supportive, had their own struggles. They weren't wealthy by any means, but they gave everything they could to their children. Taehyung's father, a farmer, worked hard every single day, never once complaining about the hard labor. His mother was always there to encourage Taehyung to follow his dreams, even if they didn't have much. From a young age, Taehyung was taught the value of hard work and perseverance. But deep down, he knew that his heart wasn't in farming. It was in music. One day, Taehyung went to Seoul with a friend, just to support him. His friend was auditioning for Big Hit Entertainment. Taehyung had no plans to audition. He was just there to be by his friend's side. But when the officials saw him, they noticed something natural and charming about him. They asked, "Would you like to audition?" Can you imagine? A boy who only came to support his friend was suddenly stepping toward his own dream. Without preparation, without fear, Taehyung gave the audition. His voice, his innocent smile, and that natural presence impressed everyone. Right there and then, Taehyung was selected. That moment was the beginning of his transformation. The dream he had quietly carried in his heart had suddenly come true. But, as most dreams do, this one came with its own set of challenges. In the early days, Taehyung faced immense difficulty adjusting to the intense training. He was now a trainee in Big Hit Entertainment, a company that was still relatively unknown at the time. The company was small, and the trainees had to work hard to earn their spot in the industry. But there was something different about Taehyung. He wasn't the typical K-pop idol. While other trainees were focused on being perfect, Taehyung stood out because of his rawness. He wasn't trying to fit into a mold. He was just being himself. However, this also made him a target for harsh criticism. His looks weren't the conventional idol type, and his style wasn't like the others. The bullying started early. The whispers in the training room, the dismissive looks, the jokes made behind his back. Despite all the challenges, Taehyung didn't give up. He continued working hard, honing his skills, but the journey wasn't easy. There were times when he would go back to his small dorm room and cry, wondering if he was good enough. He was constantly doubting himself, but then, in those quiet moments, he would remember why he started. He remembered the dream that brought him to Seoul in the first place. And then, the moment finally came. In 2013, BTS debuted. But Taehyung, like the rest of the members, wasn't an overnight success. Their debut was met with skepticism. BTS was a rookie group from a small company. They didn't have the same resources or fame as the established idols, and Taehyung was still facing criticism. His unique style, his deep voice, and his appearance were things people didn't understand at first. But Taehyung kept pushing through. BTS started performing on small stages, and it was there that Taehyung began to truly shine. His voice, which had once been overlooked, became one of the most distinctive in the group. The magic that had been hidden in him all along started to emerge. But even then, the world didn't fully recognize him. People were still trying to figure out who he was. Some even wondered if he would ever reach his full potential. But Taehyung never stopped. And over time, the world began to see his brilliance. His vocals became legendary. His performances were raw and emotional, drawing fans into his world. But it wasn't just his talent that made him special. It was his heart. He cared deeply for the fans, for his family, and for his members. It wasn't long before Taehyung found his true calling as an artist. He was given the opportunity to showcase his individuality. From his beautiful photography to his solo music, Taehyung found his own voice. Songs like Stigma and Singularity revealed a side of him that people had never seen before. A deep, emotional side that resonated with fans. But like anyone in the public eye, Taehyung faced even more challenges. The pressures of fame, the constant media scrutiny, and the never-ending comparisons to other idols began to take a toll. He felt isolated at times, as if the world didn't fully understand him. But through it all, Taehyung had one thing that kept him going: his members. The bond between BTS was something truly special. They weren't just a group, they were a family. As BTS's popularity grew, so did Taehyung's influence. But despite the fame, Taehyung never forgot where he came from. He still called his parents every day, sharing his struggles and triumphs. Even though he was a global star, he remained grounded, always remembering the boy who once dreamed of something bigger than a small town. The bullying didn't stop either. Even as BTS grew into one of the biggest groups in the world, Taehyung still faced the harsh reality of being judged for things he couldn't change. But instead of letting it break him, he used it as fuel. Every time someone criticized him, he grew stronger. He realized that he didn't need anyone's approval. He only needed to be true to himself. In 2017, during one of BTS's biggest moments, Taehyung was asked how he felt about their success. His answer was simple but powerful. "I never imagined that I would be here. I still can't believe it, but I'm so grateful for everything." It was that humility, that thankfulness for the opportunity, that made fans fall in love with him even more. Taehyung's solo career began to take off as well. He released his first solo track, Singularity, and it was a massive success. The song, which dealt with themes of personal struggle and self-reflection, showed a side of Taehyung that fans had never seen before. His deep, soulful voice became a symbol of vulnerability and strength. Fans couldn't get enough of his music, and it became clear that Taehyung was more than just a member of BTS. He was an artist in his own right. But despite all the success, Taehyung's heart remained with BTS. They were his family, and they were the reason he had made it this far. Together, they created music that touched millions of people around the world. And for Taehyung, every time he stepped on stage with them, he was reminded of how far they had come, from the small practice rooms of Big Hit to stadiums full of screaming fans. As BTS's career continued to rise, Taehyung found himself in the midst of one of the most powerful and dedicated fan bases in the world, ARMY. The connection between Taehyung and his fans was unlike anything anyone had ever seen. Fans were drawn to his warmth, his kindness, and his rawness. They saw a boy who had been overlooked, who had been bullied, and who had fought for everything he had. And in him, they saw themselves. Over the years, Taehyung became an inspiration to millions. His story was one of perseverance, of never giving up, no matter how many people tried to break him. He showed the world that it's okay to be different, to be yourself, and to embrace the things that make you unique. Today, when we see V, confident, loving, soulful, we must remember that behind it lies a story written with blood, sweat, and tears. This boy taught us that true beauty isn't just on the outside. True beauty is staying loyal to yourself, to your dreams, and to your emotions. If Taehyung had not auditioned that day, if he had given up after being bullied, if he had silenced his voice after the criticism, maybe we would have never known the magic called V. V's journey teaches us that when the world ignores you, when the world laughs at you, when the world says you can't become anything, that's when you must scream your dreams even louder. Because sometimes, the most beautiful stories are the ones that pass through the hardest roads. And V's story is a story that reminds all of us. Dreams do come true if we never lose our courage. Taehyung, you will always, always be an inspiration for us. Your journey proves that no matter how tough life gets, if you stay true to your originality and dreams, the world will eventually have to recognize you. And with this hope and inspiration, today we all say together, thank you, Kim Taehyung. You are our hero. You always will be. Your smile, your voice, your story,